we are.
Here we are. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to TheraSisters, Catherine.
Yes, Amy, welcome.
We are back. We had a little break.
Yes.
So we're a little rusty.
I think we'll be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope so. Is that, yeah.
Where are we back from?
Colorado.
Woo.
Yes. We had a graduation in the family.
Yay.
That was fun and exciting. It's good to see the Colorado family. How are you adjusting?
To get back? This week's better. Last week was hard. It was like a half a week. And just kind of getting my mind back into going to the office and doing things and getting on the summer schedule of camps and waking up and just all of that.
Yes. We have a lot of transitional time happening.
Yes.
Summer, away from trips. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. Well, maybe our guest today, Dr. Kezia Jackson from Healing Spaces and Psychological Services, can help us with some transitions. Yes, hi.
And these comfy boots.
I know. They're comfy. I need some of these for the office.
I know. Yeah, that's what we were hoping. Kind of that
I like
comfy,
this. Like
laid
that.
back. Yes, hello there.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Oh, so glad you came and got to meet you finally.
Yes.
I tell you, with all the social media and like Facebook and Instagram, I see your face and I hear the things that you're doing, but I've never met you. It's weird.
Oh, it's nice to meet you in person.
Yes.
Well, the cool thing is you actually came to one of my very first networking moms events, and that's how I originally met you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was really cool. So we go way back.
Yeah. For years. Yeah.
You have not been to one in a while.
I know. I need to carve out the time. That's my problem. I need to just put it on the calendar and then I'll be there.
For everything, right? Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna look at the calendar and I'm gonna put it on there when I get back to the office.
I like that.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I guess, we have you on here because you are also a healer.
Thanks.
And I just want to know more about healing spaces and your goals with that and how you help people heal.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to jump right in.
I love it. All right. So Healing Spaces was started in 2018, and it was just me. So I was doing it as kind of part-time private practice, and as the years went on, I transitioned to full-time practice, and then it made me start thinking like, how can we how can I make a bigger difference in the St. Louis community? And while I never expected to have a group practice that looks like it does now, I'm so glad that it does. But our goal and our mission is to create a safe space of healing for Black individuals, people of color, everybody, anybody from a marginalized population to come and feel happier and healthier and just have a better life.
Awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How many people do you have?
People ask me that all the time.
Yeah.
Honestly, could I tell you? Because it changes so much. So, like, talking about the transitions of the summer, we have a summer intern who's there doing assessments.
Okay.
We have a psychometrist who's in the office now, more full-time.
Like
psychometrist, yes. So, So a psychometrist is someone who does some of the psychological evaluation. Okay. So they're trained in testing and interpretation and all of that. So
what's the ometrist piece?
Okay. Exactly. And then we just hired 2 new POPCs. So very good. It just changes. So I know when I do payroll, there's at least 9 of us.
Oh, wow. So that's a good number of people.
Yeah, including then you also have the interns and the administrative staff, and then we have a leadership team. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's grown so much,
Yeah, until 2018 is when you started. Wow.
When did you start Healing Spaces?
It became in 2018. Yeah.
When did it become a group?
So it became a group in it was pandemic. Everything around pandemic's blurry.
Yes.
I want to say 20. It was probably 2020. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yep.
Well, a lot of people, I think, were looking
Yes,
for.
which helps.
Yeah. Do you find that having like virtual or online, was that something that helped healing spaces grow?
Oh, for sure. Because I remember when I first transitioned during the pandemic, a lot of people, because we didn't know what it was going to turn out to be. So a lot of people were like, "I'll just come back when we're back in the office. No big deal."
In a couple
And then,
weeks.
a couple weeks. Also, and then a couple weeks turned to a couple months, and then
Years. Yeah.
years. Yeah. So I definitely think that it helped for sure. And then with it being in Missouri, like then we can access everybody in Missouri, not just kind of within our surrounding areas. And now, though, I feel like more people are wanting to come in person. So we do have a fair amount of people who virtual works for them and their lives. However, we get a lot of people who are like, no, I want to sit down in the comfy chairs and do the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I found the same. A lot of people are like, I'd rather do it.
Yeah.
So, and there's benefits for all of it.
Yeah. I have clients who'll do both. Right? Yeah.
It's a good mix.
It is a good mix. And I know it's good for us therapists as well to sometimes be at home to do it when I do online, or if we have a sick kid or something like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility with it.
Yes, yeah. And so going back to the healing piece, you do assessments.
Yes.
And do you have a specific or a specialty in your assessments?
Ooh, that's a great question. Okay, so I guess my specialty would be. I have an answer. Okay. My specialty would be it's what we call differential diagnosis.
Okay.
So while I love doing more like straightforward evaluations, I feel like a lot of people that come to me as the human spaces are wondering about multiple diagnoses, or either have like when you get to adults, have a long-standing history of mental health conditions, maybe have been hospitalized and received multiple diagnoses, and might have a history of trauma. And they're like, help me sort out what this could be.
So clear.
Yeah. So doing all of that work, and then I hesitated because previously a lot of my work had been in working with children.
Okay.
So I, of course, the learning disorders and all of those evaluations, and certainly love working with adults to just tease apart what's going on.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I'm pausing because I'm also thinking of questions around that.
Well, I'm also curious, just at Healing Spaces, like the types of services that you provide in addition to maybe diagnoses or assessments.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I love the team and how it's grown, because it allows us to serve a lot of people in different ways. So we have couples therapy. We do individual therapy, of course, psychological evaluations, group therapy, parent training is one of our specialties as well. So working just not with the child, working with the parents. Parenting is hard sometimes.
Yes, it is. Yes,
figuring out kind of like what's going on or what could be the best approach. And a lot of our clinicians have different niches, which is great. So I feel like there's what the ideal is. There could be something for everyone there.
Okay, great. So because we can look at specialties, right, as far as diagnoses such as anxiety or something of that. But I know that you're wanting to help people in the marginalized communities, and so that when you think of like diagnoses, I mean that could be all of them, right?
Yeah,
because we all have something and of different things. So I think one, it's good to have that variety in therapists, and then that clarity to kind of figure out which one is it really that I'm struggling with, and then kind of who to send them to. And I don't know.
And I like doing that work, especially let's say with like marginalized populations, because I feel like there's also a lot of research that shows a lot of folks get misdiagnosed. So wanting to clarify like what exactly is going on, because that's going to inform treatment. And even so, I get a lot of people from all types of populations with significant trauma history, and I feel that in their experience, they've gone to different physicians or hospitals. It's like, oh, you have bipolar disorder.
Right.
And it's like,
because there's probably some bias, right, coming in some of these diagnoses.
For sure, especially if it's perhaps like led to hospitalization. So to be able to be like, okay, but have we looked at trauma? Have we looked at this? Like, let's dig back into your childhood and let's form an accurate diagnosis, because it could be bipolar disorder.
It could be.
Or it could be post-traumatic stress disorder, or it could be a personality disorder, or whatever.
Because there's so much overlap, and they look similar.
And it's super helpful to be able to say, like, this is what's going on, whether it's a diagnosis or not, just having some information about who you are, how you process information, what are your triggers, etc., for us to be able to then provide a detailed list of recommendations that are personalized for that person. So then I can say, this is what's going on. Now you can take it to to figure out what's going on. Yeah. So I like facilitating that process.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I feel like too, sometimes a diagnosis almost feels easy, not easy, but like in the sense of like it's a label. And when I have a label on something, I understand it better. I think I do, right? And I think a lot of other professionals, they might go right to that diagnosis when they don't necessarily explore other
things that's going on.
And and a lot of that influences our behaviors and our reactions to things. So I'm curious, just with the marginalized, like making this special space, like what is your perspective of doing that specifically, and just how it helps and how?
Yeah, certainly. So I did it. So throughout my, I'll say, short career outside of practice, worked in some really great places, and oftentimes I was the only Black psychologist, only person of color, and working with a lot of the Black populations, BIPOC populations, and recognizing that a lot of things like related to culture weren't being attributed to or thought of, or even like the recommendations that were given were not been feasible for that family, or certain things weren't taken into consideration, not just regarding like race and ethnicity, but religion or what other facets. So for me, it was like, okay, let me create a space where I know that these things are going to be prioritized. And a big thing for me at Healing Spaces and for all the team is we really focus on authenticity. So we want you to show up who you are as you are. And we talk a lot about how this idea of professionalism and how it's rooted in all types of whatever, capitalism, all types of crazy patriarchy. But, that's what I said. Please don't get me started. And how we just want you to show up as you are and just be totally safe. Talk how you want to talk, dress how you want to talk.
Yes.
And know that that's how we're going to meet you.
In this professional place.
Because how I'm talking to you all right now is how I talk to my family, how I talk to my clients, and it makes sense for me. It makes sense for them.
And if your client can't be their authentic self, then not much is going to happen, right? And you've got to have that trust and that connection. And
and with like all this stigma around mental health, but particularly like in the Black community and other populations, like we wanted it to be a space where just come and we can talk about things. And I know you might not have had like good experiences in the past. But what can we do to try to change that and work with you? Because at the end of the day, we just want you to feel better.
That's good. And I'm glad that you're creating that safe space, because I think as maybe in tune as a white woman, and I keep growing and I keep learning, like, oh, I gotta keep growing on that piece, can help and want to help marginalized populations. But at the same time, though, I'm also realistic to know I haven't had some of the life experiences, and whereas others might have. And so I think it's good that there's that community that you're creating where people can go and have that. So
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's good.
And it's so important to see someone who looks like you, in these positions, in these spaces, and this, that, I mean, it makes such a big difference too.
Yeah. I guess on some level, I'm thinking of people who struggle with addiction, and that sometimes they look for like, have you struggled with it? Do you really understand it? And I maybe that's one of the reasons why I don't do addiction. I mean, I'm addicted to sugar, but I don't think it's the same. And I know it's not the same thing. And so, yeah, I might not totally understand it, and I'll have maybe these preconceived ideas that are hurtful. And so, yeah, I think it, but at the same time, though, can help people.
Sure.
Right. And so, I don't know, it's just, I guess, trying to find your good fit, and you offer another.
Just another space for
yes,
another option.
Thank you. Yes,
because I think we all know that fit is so important. That relationship is so important.
Key.
So providing that option and be like, okay, if you want someone with a similar experience to you, then perhaps this is the space, and we can help you focus on X, Y, and Z. So not only having like the lived experience, also recognizing that our experience can be totally different, even though we might look the same or whatever.
Yeah, very
and I can bring some of that in the room as well as like my expertise and my education, and then together we can kind of tackle some of your issues and concerns.
Yeah, because you have that unique kaleidoscope of all of that.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah. And so I think I read in your bio that you work with people with trauma and maybe specifically being parented trauma. Did I read that correctly, or did I read it wrong?
Sometimes I don't really remember the things that I write.
Good, you're not aware, because I don't either.
But I can't explain, I think, what I was trying to say. So we have myself, and there's a number of clinicians there that have a lot of experience with children that have been adopted in a foster care system or have experienced just trauma in general.
Okay. Good.
So, So sometimes parenting looks very different if you're fostering or if you parented a child who does have complex trauma or who's had experienced developmental trauma. So working through that.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah. Because I've known people who've been adopted and then the parents, and then there are there's stories about the children who've been adopted that they don't really know necessarily. And so it is trying to kind of, how do you heal with that or move forward with that and understand all that? So, okay, good.
And a lot of my background, my therapeutic background is in working with children with disruptive behaviors. I did a lot of work in residential. Oh, I love residential. I do. I love it. I don't know. It might say something that I might thrive in some of the chaos, but I loved it, and I love being like in a community, in a space where you can impact so much of like the individual's life. So like at the residentials I've worked at, the school was on site, they lived on site, the parents came on site to do therapy. So it's like I could be there, I could do observations, I could talk to the teachers, I could immediately kind of intervene if I'm looking at you in the while you're eating or on the milieu or whatever. So I loved it.
Well, yeah, you're getting all kinds of information, school information, family interaction information, just how they are as a
peer. Oh, I love it. I get excited
when you look at it that way.
You can do so much great work as opposed to like love therapy with individuals who are not in residential treatment, and you one experience, or you're just telling it, and it's like, no, I want to see what it looks like. I want to see it. That's why I like family therapy too. Oh, I love family therapy. Let me see it play out. Like, you can tell me, but I want y'all to talk to me.
Yes. Oh, it's good. There's people who enjoy that.
I love it. I'm like, giddy just thinking about it.
But it is interesting because, as you know, I work with individuals, and so I hear this one piece, and every once in a while I'll have like a partner or someone come in, or I'll work with a sibling, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting because this is not. It's a totally different viewpoint.
Yes.
So you get a lot more information when, obviously, when you have, the whole family in there.
Oh, yes. I love it.
So you like a challenge.
I do. I like a challenge. And I think with those, like certain populations or issues, oftentimes families can come to you like, sometimes at the point of like distress, like we've tried X, Y, and Z, or all this is going on, or like the behaviors are at a 10. And it's also nice to say like, okay, work with them and create a piece or a change that I think can be, what I'm trying to say, like easily seen as well. Like individual work is great too, and there's times where it might take a while to work through some things. But if I'm doing like family work, behavior work, and we can start enact some changes that you're not just doing in the room, but now you can take all of that and do it home, and you might be more likely to do it home.
Right.
And then we can start to see changes a little bit sooner. Yeah.
I think it's putting that understanding around the behaviors and the reactions. Like if I know more of where that's coming from, or that when my parent or whoever says this and I react in this way, it's that information that really makes it that you can actually see it and change it.
Yeah. And I feel like with therapy, and I say this too, also thinking of like maybe some of the arguments I might have with my partner, but to be able to say like, okay, we can talk about this after the fact, but in the moment, and we were able to have someone to say like, all right, pause. What happened in that moment? Like, what were the emotions you experienced? What did that remind you of? Or let's talk about the triggers. Or how did it is like, it can be so powerful instead of talking about it later. You know?
Yeah, in that moment when they're feeling it, and then they can really connect it.
Connect the dots.
Yeah.
And then we like you can see there's certain like things that might seem small or they might not notice that we notice. Like, oh, I noticed they leaned over, or they like went like this, or they, that means something.
These might sort of pull back, and
so it's like when you pause and then say, "Look at that,"
and then and in the moment, like I know when I'm having an argument, like I might not always be attuned to those things, but have someone else say like, okay, this is what I'm saying. What do you think about that? I said, oh, I guess I did. Yeah, I am feeling X, Y, and Z. And it's like, yes, now we can do something about that.
Yeah. So, and it helps the individual who's experiencing that moment and the family member, whomever is in there to go, oh, and then to have a better understanding of this is why you do X, Y, Z,
exactly,
or oh, I didn't realize that was a preventative or a protective measure. And so, it builds that empathy. And I like the piece too of quicker or more instant resolve, because I think with individual therapy, other family members who aren't in the room don't know all the things that are going on in their mind, or what we're working on, and what they might actually be trying to do. It isn't as visual outside, but in family therapy or couples, it's like, oh, okay, so I see you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and maybe you two work together, and they can each see the changes, and that's more gratifying.
Yes.
Right? And we have a tendency to keep doing it.
Did you see the changes? Yeah. It's like, oh, I noticed my child had less outbursts this week, or I noticed that they were really using their coping skills, and then the child gets that praise and that recognition, and the parents are like, okay, I guess this is working. But no, parents will always feel like therapy is working.
Right.
And then we have more buy-in, and then more willingness to work. Yes. So, okay, I guess it's working, and I feel like that can make a difference.
Well, yeah, because you're changing the cycle of negativity reinforcing negativity to positivity reinforcing positivity. So,
Well, and with family, like if it's with a kid, like if a kiddo goes to therapy by themselves, right, and it's like they're seen as the problem, but the parents aren't doing any work, it doesn't really change.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because the kiddo doesn't necessarily have the power to kind of change their parents. Yeah. So,
and if they do have that kind of
power, that's another conversation. Yeah. Oh man, you'll make me want to open my caseload back up.
That's right. You were supposed to take a little pause and only focus on what administrative.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So this is ideally, I do as an entrepreneur, as I'm telling this for myself, need to find a better balance between the administrative work, which needs to happen, and also the clinical work that I just love. Love doing.
Yeah, that is hard.
Making sure I'm not like spending all my time at work
on one or the other.
One or the other. Yeah. So
you can get sucked in easily.
So until I find that balance, I'm just going to take a pause from therapy. Or having accepting new clients.
Okay. So you've got clients currently.
Okay. Yeah, I have. So current clients, you still meet me next
week. Don't be
exactly. I'm like, what is this news? No. Meet me next week. And then also accepting assessment clients.
Okay. Oh, so you're still doing assessments.
Yeah.
Okay. No, remind me. Because there's the
psychometrist,
psychometrist. They do assessments. Okay, so you're not the only one doing the assessments.
Yes, which is new.
Okay.
So as we continue to expand, recognizing that I cannot do all the assessments. So they assist with those as well.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of your balance.
Yeah. I know, that has tremendously helped. My balance for sure. So, but my issue is like, once things start to stabilize, I'm like, well, maybe I can add in 5 more clients. Like, no, wait.
Like, there's a reason.
Let's remove some other stuff around. Yes. And then you can add more.
Yes. Have you always wanted to be a therapist?
I am one of those people who took AP psychology and decided right then and there I was going to be a psychologist. And that was it.
That was college or high school?
High school, yeah.
High school, yeah.
So I went in, I was undergrad, I was like, I'm doing psychology, I'm going to grad school. I had no change of plans there.
So
that was it, yeah. So one of the few times I was decisive.
Yes. You must have liked your teacher. No.
I mean, the fact that I can't recall, sorry, teacher so maybe. But I do remember, I've always been a sensitive child. I've always been a bit of an empath. And I think sitting in the class and recognizing, like, okay, this could be a way that I can help people and I can serve and I can make a difference. It just makes sense to me.
It does make sense.
So I was like, oh, yeah. I'm going to do that. And there was no more. No more options.
I know, because it's kind of like, I mean, this job is so unique. And I think about, like, what in the world would I have done? What else would I have done where I can sit around? One, I do like to sit around and just have conversations with people and get to know them and like those intricacies and kind of figure out like ways to problem solve or understand or connect. You know, I love it. I do too. I do enjoy it.
I love it.
Yeah. As we all reflect.
I know. I love it. And I think that helps too, because jobs are hard.
They are hard, yes.
But I think compared to, it's nice to be in a field where you love what you do, because a job is going to be hard regardless.
Right.
But it's like, okay, I'm passionate about this. This is how I'm making a difference. I love it. It makes it so much easier to just show up and do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Well, and thinking about finding the balance, and so another piece that we like to talk to our guests about is healing, just in general. So when you define healing for clients and when you define healing for yourself, like what does that look like?
Ooh, well, I feel like that can look like a lot of different ways. So I know in like my intake process, I love to sit with the client and figure out like what that looks like for them and really operationalize those goals. So like, what's the goal and how do we know that we've accomplished that? Because some people could just be, I just want to be more open or vocal about my emotions. Okay, that's healing for you.
Right.
Or I want to overcome some of the negative thoughts or feelings I have about this thing that happened to me in the past. That could be healing. So I think it really is defined by the person.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Very specialized to what that person wants to work on.
And then personally for you,
I spent a lot of time thinking on what I want to do or what could be most healing for me in that sense. So I haven't. What would I say for this stage of my life? Okay, I am in this stage where I certainly have been focused more on like my physical health. I feel like in the past I focused a lot on mental, emotional, done therapy, continue to do therapy. I'll be back therapist.
Right, yes.
But I feel like, especially understanding like how physical and emotional and all those things interact, like I've never been a good sleeper. So trying to really work on like my goal is to get more than 6 hours of sleep.
Okay.
And my goal is to wake up in the morning and not feel like I got no sleep at all. So I've been really focused on those things and really trying to make those small changes so that I just feel better physically.
Yes.
So yeah, that's my focus.
I like that you brought in the physical piece of healing because, we're therapists, so we mostly talk about mental and emotional healing. And yet, yes, I mean, I know I work with my clients on their physical, like what are you doing to take care of your physical? Because there is so much interactions, as vitamin D and magnesium and like what are we missing? Because if we're missing something just as simple as taking a vitamin D supplement that will help with our fatigue, but yeah, the physical piece is also important for healing because even people who might have a physical illness of diabetes or a heart condition, that's also part of healing, right? To kind of, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, because I think, like you said earlier, like as healers, I know I spend a lot of time focused on my clients and what they want to do to feel better. And sometimes I have to take a step back and say like, okay, but what do you need to do to feel better?
Yes.
Because you can't keep working if you're not feeling 100%. So, and thinking of that as like, okay, you really need to focus on your physical health. So I've been working a lot with like my physician. I started seeing an herbalist, just making sure like those vitamins and all those things are in place, as well as like, is there a supplement that I could take that could help improve these areas as well? So yeah.
It's
been interesting.
It's important, and learning so much.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, good. So so healing. Okay, so you're focused on your physical.
I am.
And do we want to talk about? I mean, I guess with my healing and physical, as you can see, we have not thought about. We're off the cuff here.
Oh, I know. That's my
But I guess like physical healing. So I'm currently in perimenopause, and so that affects so much with my mental. As my husband is aware, I'm sorry, Jim, I'm so moody. But there is like it just interplays, and so right now that's part of my focus of healing is trying to figure out how can I regulate, how can I give my body what it's missing right now, and then also being kind with my moodiness.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say I'm also trying to find new ways of healing just for myself. Last year I did dive into more of just kind of mental stuff and getting a diagnosis of ADHD and those kinds of things, and learning that medication helps me. But then now it's also like all these different things that we're learning about, like learning about breath work and learning about sound baths and like all of these other options and like somatic things. So I'm really into wanting to learn more about those, and because I can see how talk therapy has a space, and sometimes talk therapy you can maneuver that the way you need it to, right? So like incorporating something else in there can really open up some other
for sure.
And so I think it's I'm loving this path of learning more and all these other options, but I also like really digging in like what is my goal? What do I need? How do I get there? And it's so specific to each person.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Just like you were saying, it's specific for the client and what their goal is. And I also like when you were looking at where you are in your life. And that piece too is, it's something to think about when you're healing.
And it's a continual thing. It's we're always kind of healing.
Yes.
Or we're always kind of wanting to improve or keep going, and I don't know.
Hopefully.
That's the plan. Yeah. Ooh, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay. You feel free to tell me no because it's a personal question. But the clinical psychologist in me wants to know how this adult diagnosis of ADHD has been helpful.
Oh, well, there were so many things that I just didn't know or didn't realize that were like related with ADHD, and I think Amy probably told me for years, like, maybe.
Well, I was also late adult.
Okay.
Probably around COVID time. I'm like, figuring this out. But,
and it's like, now we can, and one, I think it was like Instagram almost helped me.
Yeah,
I saw the people posting the videos, and I'm like, oh, that's not a normal social thing. I was like, oh, okay. And so I think, and then us noticing, we think our mom has ADHD, and so just like noticing different things of like, I see that, and I hear that, and I try not to do that. Right? But so like the medication has really helped me because I'll also have mood swings where I'll react really quickly to an emotion, and as a parent, that's really hard. And so the medication has helped me slow down with my reactions. I'm still working on that, but it's also it's also helped me focus. Like the first day I even took it, I'll just share this. I went to a coffee shop and I sat down and I read an entire article from start to finish. And at the end, I was like, I've never done that before. I've never been able to sit down and focus on an article long enough. I think I've always just skimmed. So it's like, how did I even get through school?
I know. I know.
So I guess that. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. And thank you. I appreciate you explaining that because, like, being the person who might give a diagnosis to an adult, I might present all this information and then we'll talk about what that means in the moment, but like hearing how it plays out can be really, really helpful. And I also feel like I often get the question as like, as an adult, why would I want to invest the time and the money to get a formal diagnosis? I've gotten this far. So I think, this also shows that it could be really, really helpful to have a formal diagnosis, and then that can inform treatment, and that can, be super beneficial for you. So thank you.
And to add on to Catherine, in that my late diagnosis, I think part of the reason why I waited so long was like, I have made it this far. What is the point, right? But once I had it, I was able to kind of reflect back and be kinder to myself, like forgive because my teenage years and my 20s were impulsive and dangerous on some decisions. And it just kind of allowed me to be like, you know what? You had a lot more going on that you didn't realize. So it allowed me to kind of forgive that wild child that I was.
I love that.
So it helps with that too. So there's lots of reasons to,
I think so.
Agreed.
But I think, like you said, as an adult, people might say like, well, I'm X, Y, and Z age. Why do I need it now? And I also get people who are like, I'm X, Y, Z age, and I've always felt that things have been harder for me or things have been different. And now that I'm older, I just really want to know what's going on, if there's something going on, because that could be very validating.
Yes, it's very validating in my experience.
Okay, yes. No, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah.
So good work. It is. It is.
I mean, I love it.
I know it's good.
Yeah, awesome.
And then we talk about glimmers.
That's what I was going to say. Another piece to this is talking about glimmers, a recent glimmer in your life, those moments where you can pause and just look at everything and it's like, this is just a really nice, warm moment.
Okay, see, back to me being sensitive, I'm about to cry. So,
yes, we are
bring on the tears. I love it. Okay, so two things came to mind, a business one and a personal one, which I'll share if that's okay with you.
Yes, please. Thank you.
So like I said, we've had interns come in, new employees come in, etc. So on Monday, it had to be a Tuesday. Days are hard, but sometime earlier in the week, we had new employees start, and we had leadership meetings and all these things. But I would remember standing there and looking at like the full office suite and people moving around and laughing with one another and whatever, and it just made me feel so happy to be like, wow, I can't believe Healing Spaces has gone from me and one employee to like a group of people who are like making a difference, who I feel like love to be there. And it's just, I don't know, it just makes me feel very happy because I think.
And you did that. Right. You created that space.
Stop. Thank you. It's just, I don't know, a lot of owning a business, as you all know, is very hard. A lot of sacrifices. Dang, I have a little a lot of sacrifices. So it's nice to see, like, wow, get paid off. You're doing it. You're doing it.
Yeah.
And also knowing that, like, one thing that they're see that for real. I know we don't have to. But it's like, also I've been thinking a lot about how it was you doing everything, and that was not. They remind me all the time of, like, you're not alone.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to do that by yourself. But I'm just so used to, like, doing it all. So that was a moment where I was like, oh, wow, my heart was so happy.
That's a glimmer. That's a glimmer.
Yeah. So that was the business one of the week. And then also, personally, I have a rambunctious, smart, wonderful 3-year-old who always brings me joy. But yesterday, when I was working at the office a little later than I should have, my husband FaceTimed me, and she kept saying, like, "Look, mommy, I'm a toy," and it was like free. And we were like, "Where did you get this from?" Like, it's just so amazing to see her, like, grow and be, like, funny and curious and all these things. But it was just so hilarious. She was like, "Look, mom, I'm a toy." At that point, I was like, "I'm packing out. I'm coming out." Like, this totally means nothing. But yeah, it's so nice to see her, because I think she's the best shot ever. But yeah,
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
We don't think that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I love that.
So those are my two. Thank you for letting me share.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
That's good.
Love it. I can go ahead.
Sure.
A glimmer for me recently is, it also includes my daughter. Is we've started, this is only our second, today will be our third, but, like, we've started journaling in the evening.
Oh, very good.
So, like,
I love that.
yeah, so she, for some reason, loves little notebooks, and so she has, like, this bin of notebooks. I was like, oh, we should start writing. What if we started writing in our journal? And she was like, okay. And I'm like, I have a journal. And she's like, well, I'll pick this one.
I love
And
that.
so for a few nights now, right before bed, we get out our special pen, whichever pen we like it that night. And we write about our day together, and sometimes we share and sometimes we don't. And just sitting last night with her, it was nice to be like, oh, I like just sitting here and doing this.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I'll share a child one as well. So Thomas is my 10-year-old, 11-year-old.
Oh, you probably watch it like.
I know. Yes, I'm sure. 11-year-old. And so I am a slightly helicopter-ish parent.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes, I try really hard not to be. And so last night, it was almost, I was talking about this earlier, 9 o'clock, and he wanted to go ride his bike. And because he really enjoys riding his bike. And I'm like, oh, it's not dark yet. And he has his lights. And I was like, okay. And so I let him go. And so for me, I was proud of myself and a little glimmer that I was able to release. And then also to see him come back and to see how animated he was about his ride and to tell me about it. That was a little glimmer to see that. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. So, yes.
I love that.
Glimmers for the day. And then we have our fun.
The last piece.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right? I don't know. So we have questions in here.
Okay.
And you just pick one, and then all three of us just kind of throw out an answer to the question.
Yes. We have no idea.
We have no idea what the question is.
I know. So
why is this the most anxious part of today?
I know.
Yes. What does healing look like to you?
Throw it out.
We'll put that one away.
All right. Ooh. If we were to work with you, what are 3 things we would notice about your work? Ooh.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Notice about your work. Okay. I think the first thing you would notice is that I am a passionate, this is what I like to refer to as, individual. I love what I do. I love people, and I get very excited. I'm like, I'll use passionate. Yes. Sometimes I got to tone it down sometimes because I'm like, hi. They're like, okay, chill, because I'm just so excited. Okay. Passionate comes to mind too. When I first read this, I thought of evaluations.
Okay.
This, some people, I too get imposter syndrome sometimes. Totally get that. My assessments though, fire.
Nice. I love it.
I'm very proud. I'm not
Awesome.
like that report will be the best 20 pages you read.
Oh, you have to. Oh,
I know, but I love it.
you like writing? You like writing?
Okay, let me rephrase. Report writing is the worst, but I invest in that summary and interpretation, and I am super. I just want to be the most helpful thing that someone's going to read.
Yeah.
So,
well, and on the other side of that, I remember reading mine and just being like, yes.
Yeah.
So
nice.
to affirm that it is impactful.
Yes. Okay, good. I love it. Yeah. Top tier. Okay, so passionate. I don't even know what to say that. I'm just excellent. I like it.
You are an excellent assessor.
Yes. And then the other 3 things, and that's from my work. What would be the third? I think that I've gotten a lot of comments about efficiency.
Oh, okay.
So I
good.
tend to do things a little more efficiently than others might, which is probably why I take on a lot, because I'm like, I want to get it done in a little bit of time. But
which can be a problem, right?
Yeah. Like, just because you can do it in less time does not mean you then add on more stuff.
Right.
Exactly. But yes, efficiency, I would say.
Okay, those are good 3 ones.
That's good. That was a hard question.
I know.
You went the 3-parter.
Right. I haven't looked yet.
I know. Okay, notice about what if you were joining us, 3 things that I do bring in the physical. I will ask about your sleep patterns and movement, and if you're eating right, those types of things and supplements. So we talk about that.
That's good.
That mindfulness is typically a part of, and then what else? That you might notice. I'm not quite sure. It is hard.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of when I'm in the space in session with someone. What are some of the things, like, I don't know, silly, goofy things that I might do? Yeah. I mean, I have a swivel chair, so I move in my chair a lot.
Of course,
that might be something you notice. Here you go.
Yeah, that's
your turn.
Yeah.
I know it is.
That was a hard one.
A little talking.
Yes.
Initially, I was just picturing people coming to my office, and so I was just thinking of what first thing you would see would be me like smiling.
Yeah.
It's like being a welcoming presence of "come in, nice to meet you," those kinds of things. But something that I really pride myself on in my work is the neutrality piece of couples work. Really wanting both of them to feel safe in that space and to feel heard. And I tell them, if you feel like I'm siding with one over the other, tell me. I will change it. And so that's a big piece that I feel is really important. And I will interrupt you a lot if I need to.
In the moment,
it's like, well, hold on, I saw this. And so that's something else that you would notice, and something that I also kind of warn my clients about in the sense of I have a mission. So if I interrupt, I'm not trying to be rude. It's purposeful.
That's good.
So that's what I'd say.
That's 2.
One more.
That was 3. Oh, right, your smiling face.
Yes. That's important.
Oh my gosh, we are at time. Oh my gosh, this was going back.
I know.
Okay, I'm efficient.
Yes, you are efficient.
The last piece is: do you have something to promote? Do you have things that are going on? And let us know.
Okay, certainly. So, Healing Spaces is a wonderful team of individuals. You can reach us at online www.healingspaces, STL, there's 2 S's at the end, .com. And then similarly on Instagram, Healing Spaces STL. And if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Dr. Kezia Jackson, Kezia.
Yes,
Yeah.
Dr. Kezia Jackson.
Yes. But we do have some great events. I don't want to speak before they're for their planned and announced. But if you go online, we have a space for you to sign up for a newsletter. So that's normally where we'll promote. Oh my gosh, let's not promote our upcoming events.
Okay, so join that newsletter at Healing Spaces STL.com.
Yes.
Awesome. Great. I don't think I have nothing to promote.
I have nothing to promote. Just find us for therapy services.
Yep.
Yeah,
There
all
it
of
is.
us.
That's it. Yep.
Yes. Awesome.
I love it.
Thanks for coming.
No, thanks for having me. This is great.
I know. It's just a little powwow.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so we are Fair Sisters.
Oh, yeah.
Equals and Glimmers.
Yeah.
Woohoo. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Yay, thank you.
We did it.
That was fun.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That was scary.
That was, no.
Yeah, we try to have